How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to do a World War III update number 3. And over the last, I would say, I don't know, 4 weeks, I've been noticing the game just picking up a lot of steam by other content creators covering it and looking at it, as opposed to covering games like COD or Battlefield 2042. And I think back in October, when they had updated their PTE server, or their public test server, I had done a video on it because I actually went on there and it was able to access it, considering that I bought the game beforehand, in the pre-alpha or the alpha. I don't remember what it was, but I was able to play it and experience what updates they had done from the game's initial launch. And overall, they were pretty decent. I wasn't necessarily too impressed nor too let down. It was just a pretty good update. But now, they've added more updates, but in that video, I was kind of concerned as to how the game would perform over the next couple months to half a year, just due to the fact that it was launching alongside Vanguard and 2042. But that kind of ties into why the game has been picking up steam. The two AAA titles haven't been doing so well, so nobody really cares about them anymore. And games like World War III and the community who's been kind of supporting it and playing it from day one, like myself, are actually kind of pushing the game to be more mainstream, and a lot of people are covering it. So yeah, the things that they've been doing are some of the issues that I noticed were kind of detrimental to the game, even after the PTE server had launched, or the new update on the PTE server, I'm sorry. So the biggest issues that I noticed were, I think, some of the gun noises, the reload mechanics. The footsteps was by far the most dumpster juice effects I could ever hear. I didn't necessarily like them. I kind of had a hard time locating enemies coming in from different directions, and I often kind of confused them with the friendly footsteps and my own footsteps too, with like the echoes inside the buildings. I don't know what was up with their like sound file or like their sound mechanics, but it just wasn't good at all. And this is some of the things that they've actually addressed. Now, the reload and the gun effects are actually kind of good now. They're a little bit better. They're not the best, but they're a significant upgrade from before. The one thing that I still have issues with is the footsteps. I can't necessarily still distinguish where some of the enemies are coming from. I still get kind of confused in some maps and in some portions of said maps, but in others I can kind of more or less tell, like a rough estimate as to where they're coming from. So aside from that, I do think the actual mechanics of the entire game, when you're actually playing the game, feel 10 times better. I don't remember if this is what they felt like back in the server, and I know for a fact they certainly didn't feel this way back when the game had launched. It really felt more robotic when the game had first launched. And like I said, the PTE server, I played it briefly for the week that it was open, so I don't remember too much of that. I'll try to find some gameplay and compare, but I know now when I played the game, these last two or three times, or a few times that I've played it, it felt so much smoother. The jumping mechanisms were great. The reloads were great. There were, I think the prone one was still like, it would still give me some issues when I would like lay down a med pack and I would want to prone immediately. It would like trip out. But overall, the game mechanics feel fantastic, and it almost feels just on par with COD, where it's just fluid. You can move, you can do whatever you want. You can almost manipulate the character in any way, shape, or form that you want. It almost felt like that. Right. It does still glitch here and there when you try to move or do too much at a time, or at least in my case, but it could just be on my end. I don't really know, but it feels fantastic. But it is what it is. It is a game that is in progress, and it's just, kind of building up on what it needs, and kind of testing things out as the patches roll out and stuff like that. So that's okay. I mean, as long as they get it fixed at some point, it wouldn't be too bad. But the servers are another thing that I was kind of worried about, since they've kind of updated the game in the past. The servers were active at the initial PTE update, but I kind of figured that was just going to be like a short-term thing, because, well, everybody's kind of excited to try out the new updates, the new fixes, and how the game feels as opposed to when it launched. But I was kind of wrong about that in my initial like analysis of it, because I think, like I said, I played it 2-3 weeks ago, and I played it 2 days ago, and it's fairly easy to just hop on the game, click quick play or whatever, and find whatever match you're looking for. Granted, they only have a very limited variety of maps and like 2 game modes, if I'm not mistaken, but it is quick to find a match, and I do like that because before the game was actually updated in the test server, it was super hard to find a game. I couldn't find any games whatsoever. It took me hours, and most of the times I got into dead servers, and it was just kind of awful, and I just stopped playing it until obviously they updated. But these last few like times that I've played it, it was actually pretty easy. I would click it and, like I said, hop in, and I would find a game every single time I clicked quick play. I'm actually impressed as to how far the game has come, considering that I honestly thought it was basically dead from when I bought it back in 2018 to what it is now. The player base is active. I'm not necessarily sure what the actual concurrent live players is at the moment of recording this video, but I'll probably just toss like a screenshot of it in the video somewhere. But yeah, no, it is alive and well. The servers are going, they're good. One thing though that I will say about the servers, I don't know if this is just my personal issue with my internet connection or where I am located in the world, but when I join a lobby or a server, it's a hit or miss with the connection. Sometimes I get good connection, other times I get really crappy laggy connection, so that's just something to adjust to. It does affect your gameplay, your hit reg and all that, so I didn't necessarily find it to be too detrimental, but you know, it is an issue at the end of the day. But the game has a lot of potential. It really does. I do think that if they keep going down this road, they're gonna have success in some form or another. I know from other content creators that have had interviews with the dev team, they've mentioned about in-game purchases, skins, and things like that, just kind of like, you know, Battlefield and COD have, but I didn't notice them in game. I'll probably go check and see if that's a thing, but at the moment I don't think they're implemented, so you don't really have to deal with people buying or shilling skins in your face when you open the game, so that it wasn't really annoying in the UI. But like I said, if they do continue down this path, the game can actually do more than people think it can. I know that a while ago, I think when people were first covering this game, they considered it to be a Battlefield 1 or a Battlefield 5 killer. Yeah, a Battlefield 5 killer, but it really didn't live up to its potential at the time. But now things have changed, right? A lot has changed. Battlefield 2042, COD Vanguard, there were huge letdowns. Nobody's playing 2042 at least. I don't know about COD. I haven't really looked into it. I know for a fact I didn't buy these 2 new titles, and I don't plan on buying them, but I already had World War 3. And if you plan on buying it, you're not paying a $60 premium, you're paying like $15. And I've also heard rumors, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's going to go to free to play at some point. So if it is going to go to free to play, that kind of sucks because I paid $15. But for those who haven't bought it yet, you're going to get a fairly decent, enjoyable game for $15 or basically nothing. Depends on what they decide to do. So overall, I think it's in a good place. I just wanted to cover the game because I've been following it for quite some time. I think it's just something new that's coming to the table, and I think if it does things right, then yeah, it can definitely be up there with AAA titles. Even though the graphics, it doesn't have a story mode, I don't think, or any of the other aspects that makes a AAA title a AAA title. That might not have it. So it is what it is at the moment, and so I think the game's come pretty far from, you know, back in 2018, almost 4 years ago. And yeah, no, I'm kind of glad that they've kept up with it. It's a pretty good game. I think that it's almost similar to other, you know, first-person shooters, modern first-person shooters, but you know, it's something that isn't necessarily going to be out every single year or every 2 years, kind of like COD. So it won't become repetitive. It's just one of those games, like if you've ever played War Thunder, it's been around for such a long time that the updates are just one after the other, and they kind of build on each other, so the game becomes fairly good, and you don't get a new game each and every year or every 2 years that's kind of trash because they kind of rushed it and the mechanics aren't working, or just there's just glitches. So yeah, overall, I think if the game survives long enough to just be like one single title that keeps getting worked on, it's just going to become a pretty good game, right? And like I said, it's fairly cheap, so you know, you can't beat half or even less than half of what a AAA title would go for. But yeah, I think I just wanted to cover the game because I've seen a lot of people talk about it. There's been more live streams on it on YouTube than I've noticed in the past couple months ago. So for now, I think this is where I'm gonna leave this third update. And if more comes out on the game and it seems to do better or it takes a fat dump, I'll definitely be here to cover it. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Stay tuned for another video that I'm working on. I'm fairly close to finishing the script on that, so check that out soon, in the next couple week or two. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys this week. See ya.